Hello and welcome to Blocs Master. My name is Elder and this is the new Blocs Masterclass covering custom cards. So without further ado, I will just start right away and show you how to create some beautiful custom cards. And well, to do that, I will create a new project, custom cards. I will be using Bootstrap 5, but the same will be applied to Bootstrap 4. I checked and both work exactly the same. So I will quickly put just one page without anything special. Just make it a regular website so we have something to work with. Let's make it like that. And let's add the title. Let's say it is our products page, our products. In black, and let's say that we want to have a grid of cards, exactly how I have it on the Freedom template, which is of course the inspiration for this tutorial. So here I will start to build a custom card, and I will be using column width and offset settings to create the exact width of the card I want. So we will make it responsive, of course. So let's say I want to have 3 cards per row, so I will set the width to 4 because in total it is always 12 columns, and you can see them if you press G on our keyboard, as you can see. Okay, so next we will add div container, and inside this div container, of course, we can place anything we want. I will just place heading and paragraph. So the title and text is a little bit of description. This is all I want to have on my card. So for now, it doesn't look like anything yet, but what we will do, we will select the div and add a class to this div. And this will be actually the main class we will work this for this card. So let's type new card. And from here, basically everything we will do, except maybe for the link, will be this new card class. And you will be amazed how many things we can do with this class. So first of all, well, to see the borders of our card, let's add some background color. And of course we can add image right away if you want to have a background image, but first I will start this color, something like that. And we already see that we have this card. And the other thing I always do is setting the exact height I want to have. It might be minimum height, it might be a maximum. Minimum height will be useful if you want to put a lot of text there, but to be honest, I don't recommend to put a lot of text on cards. So I will just type something like 500. I think this is more than good enough for our card, maybe even 400. Let's make it 450. Now, right from this card, we can change the color of the text inside there. So let's make it white. I will later show you in this video how we can hide it and only show it on hover and so on. But for now, let's make it white. And we want to have some padding above, below, and pretty much everything, everywhere. So let me add some padding, 28 pixels. Right from here, we can add the corners. We can make them rounded. So let's do that, 28, my favorite number everywhere, as you can see. It's getting closer and closer to looking like a beautiful card. And of course, what I like to do is, of course, utilizing the flex to position these elements inside the card like we want. So I will switch the display to flex. Then I will go to the last tab, flex container, and here I will set the direction. So we want them to be top to bottom. Of course, we can change it if you want bottom to top. And well, we can decide how we want to place it. We can make them in the middle. We can put them at the bottom. This is what I've done in my template. So let's say I want to do that. And yeah, I think for now, this is what I want to go with. So let's actually select this text. You can see we have this margin applied automatically to the text brick, to paragraph brick. I will get rid of that because we have the uniform 28 pixels padding on all sides, so I will get rid of that. And I think that the padding margin under this H3 is a little bit too much for me, so I will make it a little bit smaller, something like that. Obviously we didn't set any fonts yet, and well, for this video it doesn't really matter, but let's quickly change to something like, have plugins I think installed, something like that, so it is a little bit more beautiful. Maybe something like Lato. Yeah, let's go with Lato this time. Okay, so our card is getting closer to looking like a card. Let's create the link. We want this card to be clickable, right? If we go to preview right now, actually adjust it a little bit, you can see that there is no interaction, no link, no hover effects, nothing. So let's select this and create a link. And obviously it doesn't look very good yet. So let's add a second class, new card link, we will call it. And inside this class, for this class, we will, first of all, I don't like this underline decoration, so we'll get rid of that. Maybe we will increase the line height a little bit, well, not that much, something like that. We will make our card title white, and let's actually, well, it is open sans, I believe. Let's make it bold because we want title to be a little bit more profound here. Okay, so this looks okay, and right now it is a link already, so we can go to other page or anywhere, basically anywhere from any type of interaction will work here. And let's go to preview, and you can see, as you can see right now, this link becomes active, but we want the whole card to become active, right? So let's go back to blocks, and to make the whole card clickable, we will add the class stretched link. And if we do just that, you can see that card is clickable, but also the area around it is also clickable, and this is obviously not what we want. To limit the clickable area to this card, we need to once again go to our new card class, and we need to go to positioning and set the position to relative. So now, as you can see, the card becomes clickable only when we cross this border. And yeah, it's getting better and better. Of course, from this class we can do so much more. For example, this is not something I would do personally, but we can add borders. For example, let's make 10 pixels border, and let's make it, well, why not something like that. And if we go to preview, this is what we have right now, but we can also go to hover state and do some hover effects later. Yeah, why not? Let's go do it right now. So let's go to hover state, and as you can see, on normal state we have radius, we have width for the border, we have padding. And remember these numbers, because when we adjust something here, we need to be sure we know what we put in here. So let's say that on the hover we don't want to have any borders, and if we type 0 here, we will not have any borders. But if we do just that, you will see that we will have this jumping effect, which is not very good. Well, some people might like it, I don't. So let's go here, and once again, let's take a look at it. We have padding 28 on all sides, and we have width 10 border. If we go to hover and we set the width of border to 0, it means that we have 10 pixels on each side disappearing. So what we can do, we can increase the padding by 10, make it 38. And now, instead of jumping, we will just have the disappearing border. Maybe this is the style you go for. And by the way, you can see right now it is quite jumpy and not very smooth. well, we learned in the previous Blocs Masterclass how to add smoother transitions, and we will do that right here. So we have new card class. So all we need to do, go to additional CSS in code editor, type the name of our class, new card, and not this one. And we need to type the transition speed to what we want. So I will show you what I've done in the freedom template. As you can see here, if we go to window, code editor, additional CSS, as you can see, I have the same class here and I have this transition speed set to 0.28 seconds. So let's copy this code. Of course, it will be in the description. Go to our site here, and we will do the same. We will go to code editor and we will go to our code additional CSS section. We have already our new card class here. Let's just put the code transition old 0.28 seconds. We can make it faster, or it's up to you. You can experiment to see whatever works for you. So let's go to preview, and you will see that now it looks much smoother, and we only have this border appearing and disappearing, which is already something you might want, but of course we can change it to completely something different. For example, we can make the color of the whole card on hover blue, this aqua blue. Let's see how this will look. Well, we can preview it in the Blocs browser, like built-in browser, or in the website browser, the Safari, Chrome, whatever you have. Sometimes inside the Blocs, it might be a little bit jumpy, less smooth, so not as smooth. So I like to preview it in the browser. But here it works beautifully, both in Blocs and in this Safari browser. As you can see, we're already getting pretty good effect here, but let's actually do something different instead of the border, which you already know how to do. So let's go to hover. We will get rid of the different padding, and I will just get rid of the border, so we don't have any border here. So instead of that, we will add some images to our background. So right now I don't have any images, I believe, in this project, so I will put a couple of images there. And this is the one I use for freedom template, so why not? Let's use it again. So this is our class, and if we drop the image here, you can see that it becomes the background of this card. Keep in mind that there is a there is a small bug in Blocs, not bug, I guess this is how it works. If you click here and then you go to Asset Manager, obviously we expect this image to be moved here, but instead it is set as a background for the whole block. This is something I hope will change in the future. Not a big deal. We can always go back and get rid of the background image here. Because I'm telling you this because really for the past 6 years, maybe like 3 dozen people asked me this question: why doesn't it work? Why it's setting as a background? This is how Blocs works. You need to drop the image here. You need to get it like this and drop it in the image well. Okay, so we have image here, and we have a few options on how to display this image. And well, we can use either length or cover. Cover will make sure that the whole card is covered. You can set the position of this image to, let's say, bottom center right, for example, if you want to have something like that. And it already looks okay, actually. So we can start with that right away. So for now, I don't believe there will be any hover effect because we get rid of the borders. So let's do something different this time. And there are a few effects we can have. We can have overlay effect for the whole image. We can make it darker or brighter, wherever. Or we can move it, make it bigger, zoom in, zoom out. Also very easy, very simple to do. So let's start this, well, zooming in and out. For example, we can take this length position it to the center like this, and we can put the different type of percentages for width and height to make sure we have exactly what we want. And of course, this image is not optimized for this type of card. Something like a square will be much better, but let's work with what we have. I will disable the repeat because I don't want to repeat it. And obviously we don't really need this there, but it's actually good to have it so we can see that our image is filling all of the corners. So let's say we will put 150. Now, well, let's put 200. Well, 200. Okay, 200 works fine for now. So we have 200 and, well, maybe even 190. Let's add 190, 180. Yeah, 190 works fine. We can see that we filled the whole card. And on hover, let's make this 200. So right away, what we have done here, as you can see, we have this zoom in, zoom out effect, which is already maybe what you want. And right now it is kind of fast. You can, of course, always go to the code editor, go to our class and change this to something different. Let's say 0.5. And as you can see, it is much slower now. So in addition to that, we can also have the color overlay effect. So for the normal state, let's make it black. And we have this blend mode feature. There are a few options here. Let's start this. Let's just use the darken, which is the easiest one. If we select the darken, obviously we can see that image is not visible anymore, but we can fix this by adjusting the opacity. And this is actually what we will do for normal and hover state. So it is 10 for normal state. For hover state, once again, let's make it black and maybe 20. Well, why not? Let's make it 28, my favorite number. And we don't need to change blend mode, I believe, because it is already set for normal state. So as you can see right now, it becomes darker. Well, if you don't see the big difference there, we can always make it 50 to make it much more, yeah, something like that. And as you can see already, we have lots and lots of options here. The option we learned in the previous video when it comes to buttons, animated buttons, as you remember, we also added the shadow. And we can easily do that here as well. Let's add some shadow. We are in the normal state. It can be solid, it can be blurred, wherever. So right now I deleted the blur and we have shadow like this. Well, I guess for cards it doesn't really make sense to have a shadow like this. So let's make it blurred like this. And of course we will make it less visible because it doesn't really look very good if we do that. So 20, blur to, well, 28. Well, just look for yourself. If this is creative part, I'm not the one who will teach you how to build beautiful things. I'm sure you can have your own opinion, but I will show you how it is done quite easily. So distance, I will have 10, blur 28, angle 45. And if we go to hover, we will have the distance. Well, let's make it still, well, let's make it 15, blur, same 28, and color, let's make it, I don't know, let's start with 30 and then we will see how this will look. Let's go to browser preview. You can see that the shadow becomes a little bit bigger on hover. And obviously, like I said, it's up to you what to build there. So I believe that this is coming pretty good. One thing we can also do here, like I said, we can, for example, select our new class here, new card class here, and instead of setting the color to white, we can make it invisible for normal state, and then on hover make it white. Of course, for the link, we will need to do that separately to the class we have there, new card link. But I will actually leave it like this for now. And let's see what it will look like. As you can see that this looks already quite interesting. and you can put the, for example, title on top or in the middle and make it a little bit more seamless wherever. But you get the idea. I want to teach you the technique how to use this. And actually, let's type something, custom card, something more beautiful than heading, whatever. Okay. Another thing we can change, which is a little bit more advanced and nothing what I will do ever, but if you want, you can also change the position of these links and text in this card. So for example, you can place the title in the bottom on normal state, but then on hover, you can put it above the text. As you can see, this is how it will look, and it won't look very beautiful because the hover effect won't be as smooth, but you get the idea. So obviously it is better to keep the title at the same place because it is not transitioning very smoothly here, but you get the idea. You can do pretty much anything you want. And for now, I will just switch back to the, well, maybe something like that. Maybe something like that. So right now we have, this is on top, and then we will have text at the bottom. Okay, let's try how this looks. And this way, card title stays the same, and then we have this text appearing on hover. So you can do whatever you want, but this is how it's done. So I'm sure I missed something because there's so many things we can do this one class. As you can see, it's just one class. We can, of course, add the filters. Well, let's do that. Why not? So right now we have this color image in the normal state, but we can make everything gray, for example. It is gray in normal state, and then on hover it will be grayscale. Let's make it 0%. So now it will be colorful on hover. Of course, we now have multiple effects like darken as well, so probably we will not need this darken effect on hover. So I will delete this. And as you can see, this is pretty good. And you can see the possibilities are endless here. So we are back to the Freedom template, and from here I want to show you how we can optimize these cards for mobile and how we can change the images for each card individually. So I have just one image here, and as you can see already, I have added some padding in my template to top and bottom. In addition to padding, I added margin. And the reason why I've done that is because when we have multiple cards, and to duplicate them, by the way, we select the column and duplicate it like that. The reason why I'm adding the margin here is because if we don't have any margin, you can see that they will be like that. So I will add maybe not 28 this time, let's add 14. So we have pretty much similar padding, similar margin on the side and on the top. So maybe even 10, I think, 12. Something like that. And of course, the important thing here is that if we go to the different breakpoints, we don't have the exact width we want to have. So before duplicating them, what I recommend to do is going to each breakpoint and setting the width to what we want. So 6 will work for this MD. For the SM, we can go with 6, or we can already go with this full screen, for example. Let's actually go with 6 for now. For XS, well, it is obviously a full screen. We don't need anything else here. But for this one, I believe that right now this column has padding here, which we might want or might not want. We can also adjust the padding for the card inside the card as well. So as you remember, I have 28. We can make it 20, so we have more space for the text. And of course, it will only apply to this given breakpoint. So for mobile, well, 20 will look fine, I believe. And if we duplicate this now and go to different breakpoints, you will see that our cards will look much, much better. And finally, the other thing I wanted to show you is the images, because as you remember, we have added this image as the background. And there is actually one cool trick I wanted to show you before. If we set the attachment to fixed, you can see that all cards will have the same image, and it will look actually quite cool. If we go to preview, you can see that different parts of the image are kind of moving separately. So I think this is cool, but maybe this is not the design you go for. You can use this as some creative element on your website, but what I wanted to show you is how to add different images. So instead of adding images here, what I recommend to do is set all of the settings here inside this class, and then get rid of the image and add the separate class for the image. So card one image, for example. And inside this class, you can add this image. Everything else will be following this class. So right now I don't want it to be fixed anymore. I want to have different images for each of the cards. So right now we can, I believe this project doesn't have a lot of images added. So let me add another one, this one. For the second image, for the second card, I will add, instead of card one image, I will add card two image. So you use this main class, new card in the previous part of this video, or for this freedom template, this is freedom card div. You use this class for all of the effects, all of the hover effects, all of the styling, and then you add the separate class just for images. So let's add this image here. And as you can see, well, now we have two of them and they're different, but they have a similar effect. Everything is exactly the same apart from the image itself. And of course, you will need to create the class for each of these images. So image, well, you can name it whatever you want. Image 3 without card, whatever. And well, let's say this guy will go here. You can see that I have this one like that. So I think that's it for this video. I hope it was helpful. And if you have any questions, of course, you can leave them in the comments below. And by the way, thank you for the feedback after the first Blocs Masterclass. I have received a lot of positive feedback, a lot of requests, and believe me, I have a long list of videos and I will cover all of them in coming weeks and months. And really, I have a lot of requests for the coming, I don't know, 6 months maybe, if I keep producing one of these each week, which I will do my best to. So thank you for watching, and I will talk to you next week in the next Blocs Masterclass.